Hey everyone, and welcome as we continue our study through the New Testament Gospels, looking at the chronological 250 events in the life of Jesus. We're going through this in order as they happen, as best we can tell they happen. And today we are looking at Jesus telling the parable of the persistent widow, and this comes from Luke 18 verses 1 through 8. And it starts out this: it says, "One day Jesus told his disciples a story to show that they should always pray and never give up. There was a judge in a certain city, who neither feared God nor cared about people. A widow of the city came to him repeatedly, saying, 'Give me justice in this dispute with my enemy.' The judge ignored her for a while, but finally he said to himself, 'I don't fear God or care about people, but this woman is driving me crazy. I'm going to see that she gets justice because she is wearing me out with her constant request.' Then the Lord said, 'Learn a lesson from this unjust judge. Even he rendered a just decision in the end. So don't you think that Don't you think God will surely give it justice to his chosen people who cry out to him every day or day and night? Will he keep putting them off? I tell you, he will grant justice to them quickly. But when the Son of Man returns, how many will he find on earth who have faith?'" And so he's kind of using this as an example of, look, if this unjust judge is going to fill this person's request, this lady's request, because she just consistently asks and won't give up, what do you think God's going to do? How do you think God's going to do with us when we ask for things? And so, as we go through and look at the notes for this, right, to persist in prayer and not give up does not mean endless or repetitive and painfully long prayer sessions. It's not like just this. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not like this just constant like pray, 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 repeating the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. It's the fact that when you come to Jesus or come to God and you ask repeatedly, you ask over and over again for the same thing, but it's not like all day, all night, all day. It is just consistently asking and not giving up. And that's what God is calling us to. Because again, we have to work on his timetable. A lot of times he's going to do things differently and in different times than we do. And I get that. I'm one of the most impatient people in the world. And so it's hard for me sometimes. It's like, no, we need to do this now. We need to do this now. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait. And so that can be hard. And so consistent prayer means keeping our requests continually before God as we live for him day by day, believing he's going to answer. And again, sometimes we'll ask for things and we'll get an answer, but it may not be the answer we want. But again, we still need to be persistent in our asking. When we live by faith, we're not giving up. God may delay answering, and that's one of the things I talk about. It may not be in our timetable, but his delays always have good reasons, and I've learned that. And I also have learned in prayer life, sometimes God to say no to something, and we'll be like, you know what, I want this anyways, and we'll kick a door down that he's shut, and so we still have to go after that. And so as we got to make sure we don't do that. We got to make sure we don't do it. As we persist in prayer, we grow in character, faith, and hope. If godless judges, right, they can respond to constant pressure, how much more will a great and loving God respond to us? And so we need to make sure that if we know that he loves us, we can believe that he will hear our cries for help. And again, one of the things I want to make sure, because a lot of times, like, people will teach they'll teach on prayer and teach on things, and they'll be like, well, yeah, if you ask for God, he's going to give you anything you want. And they treat him like he's this genie in a bottle type thing. And so we need to make sure that we don't look at God like that. But we also need to make sure we don't look at it as some distant, far off person who doesn't care. He does care. And we need to look at him as a father type figure who, there's going to be sometimes we ask for things that we don't need. And this particular parable is talking about justice, right? And justice for something that how she was wrong somehow. And so we need to, in things like that, I think we do need to continually ask for prayer, ask for justice. We may not get it till the end, right? We may not see that justice until the end, but again, it's going to be on God's timetable. And so we just need to make sure that whatever we're asking God for, one, we need to make sure it's something that he would want for us. So it's right? A lot of times you might pray to win the lottery, but winning the lottery may not be good for you. If you look at the statistics, it's not good for most anyone who ever wins it. And so, those are the type of things that God may protect us from, but we still need to be, especially if we feel moved or feel, and this is something I've been dealing with lately, like if you feel called to something, right, or you really feel like you're supposed to be doing something and you want God's guidance on it, he may not give you exactly where he wants you to go right away. And that can be hard, because especially, like I said, especially for someone like me who I'm extremely impatient. It's like, I want the answer now and know where I'm supposed to go now. And so one of the things I know he's teaching me in a lot of the things that I pray for is patience. And so we need to make sure that we continue to persist in asking, persist in patience sometimes, because that may be part of what, one of the things I thought about the other day was, he may be seeing, how bad do you really want this? Right? What are you asking for? How bad do you really, are you willing to be patient in it and understand? Again, like I said, this is talking about justice. Like, sometimes we pray for healing of people. Sometimes we pray for, there's a lot of different things we pray for. But the one thing we always need to make sure that we understand is that no matter the outcome, God always has our best interest at heart. And so we may not always see it at the same time. We may not always, know exactly what that is. But the main message is in this is that we need to be persistent in asking for what we're praying for to Jesus or to God, and it shouldn't just be a one-time thing, right? It should be a continual thing until we're sure we get the answer that we know from God and how that's going to play out. As always, I appreciate everyone for watching. I hope you're enjoying these. If you are, please share them. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please go ahead and do so. We're going to continue to try to put as many videos out as we can. And as always, I appreciate you for watching.